So today we're going to revise the circle of fifths and we're going to look at how we can use this to identify key signatures in a piece of music. So first of all, we're just going to look at practicing how to identify intervals like we have done in class. Then we are going to recap how we can draw the circle of fifths and then look at how we can use that circle of fifths to identify major and minor keys just from looking at the key signature, and then we're going to look at revising those key signatures up to 4 sharps and flats because that's what you need to know for your GCSE music exam. So when we're looking at the circle of fifths, we need to understand what a fifth is, and a fifth is one of our intervals. And when we're talking about intervals, we're talking about the space between two different notes. So when we've got a fifth, what we tend to do is start on a note, and then counting that note, we count up 5. So we've got 1 on that C there, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a fifth up from C is G. It's not always just the white notes, so we need to really remember that a fifth is 7 semitones. So starting on C, I count up 7 semitones, which is including the white and the black notes, to find a fifth from C. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's my fifth there from C to G. We're just going to take another quick look at all the other different intervals that we know and how we can identify those just from hearing them. So I just want to remind you quickly how we can tell what an interval is just from hearing it. And on the screen you can see a table of the different songs that we've used in class to remember how to identify intervals. So the first one is a second, which are notes that are just one apart. And we use the song EastEnders to remember that. So if we hear a piece of music that sounds like EastEnders, those first 2 notes, that interval is a second. Then we've got a third, which sounds like Oh and the Saints. We've got a fourth, which is Harry Potter. We've got a fifth, which sounds like 2001 A Space Odyssey. So this is the fifth. And it sounds like that film. We've got a sixth, which sounds like the dashing through the snow part of Jingle Bells. We've got a seventh, which sounds like Take On Me. Sounds like the song Take On Me. And finally, we've got an octave or an eighth, which sounds like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So those are all our intervals. Now I'm going to play you an interval. You need to guess just in your head which interval it is, and then I'll show you which one it is. That one was a fourth, like the beginning of Harry Potter. That one was a sixth, like Dashing Through the Snow. That was a seventh, like Take On Me. That one was an octave, like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. one was a third, like O in the Saints. And that one was a fifth, so that was the one that sounds like 2001 Space Odyssey. That's our fifth. So it's really important that we know what a fifth is to be able to use the circle of fifths. The whole point of the circle of fifths is to help us work out how many sharps or flats a specific key signature has. And when we're using our circle, sharps go round to the right of the circle, so any key signature that has sharps in it, and any key signature that has flats in it goes round to the left. There are no key signatures that have sharps and flats. It has to be one or the other. On the circle of fifths, there are 12 different points for the 12 different notes on the piano, because each of those notes has its own key signature. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All of those, before we start again at C, they all need their own point on the circle because they all have their own key signature. Okay, so now we're going to look at how we draw the circle of fifths. So to start with, we need to put those 12 lines around the circle for the 12 different key signatures that there are. So I'm just going to start with the 4 and then fill the rest of them in. And this is what you'll have to do when you draw your own circle of fifths. And the first thing we need to do is fill in the very top of the circle, which is C. And we know that it's C because C has no sharps and no flats. So right at the top of the circle, we've got C. And then I always start by coming around to the right-hand side of the circle with our sharp keys, where we go up a fifth every time. So if I start on C, up a fifth from C, we've already worked out it's G. So here I put a G. And as we go round the circle, every key gets one more sharp. So where C has no sharps or flats, G has got one sharp in it. And then from G, we need to go up another fifth. So if I do the semitones, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 semitones. So a fifth up from G is D. And where G has one sharp, D major has two sharps in it. Then we go round another fifth. So starting from D, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 semitones, and I end up on A. So A has got 3 sharps. And then we're going to go around once more, because like I said, you only need to know up to 4 sharps and flats for GCSE. So from A, if we go up one more fifth, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 semitones. So we've got E. And that has got 4 sharps in it. So those are all the sharp keys you need to know going around the circle of fifths. You can keep going further and go up another fifth to B here, which has got 5 sharps in it, but you don't need to know that for GCSE. So once we've done the sharp side of the circle, then we need to look at the flat side. So the flat side of the circle, instead of going up a fifth every time, instead we actually go back a fifth. So I'm going to start up here on C this time, and we're going to go backwards a fifth each time, going to the left down the piano instead of going to the right up the piano. So here's my C, and I need to go back a fifth from C to find out the first key that has 1 flat in it. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 semitones down. My next key is F. So F major has got 1 flat in it, because I'm going around the flat side of the circle now. I'm going to go around another fifth. So that is 1 flat. So another fifth down from F, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've actually got a B flat now. And as we carry on going round, we're going to realise that actually all of the keys on this side, except for F, have got a flat in them. So F is the only key with a flat in its key signature without actually being a flat key, so that being F flat. So that's B flat. And then we're going to go around another fifth from there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got E flat, which has got 3 flats in it. And then we need to go around one more fifth from E flat, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is A flat. And that's got 4 flats in it. So this is one way that you can use to help you work out key signatures based on how many sharps or flats are in them. We're going to look at some other tricks to help us remember that in a second. But just for now, we're just going to look at what those key signatures actually look like. Okay, so here we are with all the key signatures that you need to know. So we're starting at the top with C, and if we had a piece of music in C major, then it would not have any sharps or flats at the beginning in the key signature, it would just have a treble clef. Then moving round, we've got our G, which has 1 sharp in it. So this is what it would look like in a piece of music that was in G major. Then we've got D major, which has got 2 sharps in it, A major, which has got 3 sharps in it, and E major, which has got 4 sharps in it. So those are what those key signatures look like. Then we come round on the flat side, and we've got F major with 1 flat, B flat major with 2 flats, E flat major with 3 flats, and A flat major with 4 flats. So I know that the circle of fifths doesn't work for everyone in terms of helping them remember how many sharps or flats are in key signatures. However, everyone needs to find some way of remembering key signatures up to 4 sharps and 4 flats, because we need to know that for your GCSE music. So another trick for remembering just the sharp keys is thinking about actually how we draw these 4 capital letters. And it's about how many times you put your pen down on a piece of paper when you draw these letters. So when I draw a capital G, I do it all in one movement. I don't need to take my pen off the page. So it's all one movement. I only put my pen down once, so it's got 1 sharp in its key signature. When I draw a capital D, I put my pen down twice. So there's 2 pen movements. So D major has got 2 sharps in it. When I draw an A, a capital A on a piece of paper, it's got 1, 2, 3 different lines to it. So that is the key signature with 3 sharps in it. And then finally, when I draw a capital E, I do 4 separate lines. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's my key signature with 4 sharps in it. So if you're finding the circle of fifths a little bit tricky, that's kind of like a little cheat way of remembering the sharp major keys. So the amount of lines that the capital letters have in them is the amount of sharps in the key signature. So if I think, well, I've got 3 sharps, the letter that uses 3 lines is an A, so I have to be an A major. And that's a trick for the major sharp keys. And then there's a different trick to help remember major flat keys, so on the left side of the circle. It doesn't actually apply to F major, so you just kind of have to remember that F major's got 1 flat in it. But then going around the circle, for these 3 flat key signatures, so B flat major, E flat major, and A flat major, the name of the key is actually the second to last flat in the key signature. So if we take B flat major, the second to last flat is B flat. So that's on the line that's B. If we take E flat major, the second to last flat is E flat. And then if we take A flat major, the second to last flat is A flat. So if you see a key signature with more than 1 flat in it, you just need to look at the second to last flat, and that's the name of the key. And then finally, we're going to quickly look at minor keys. So far when I've been talking you through the circle of fifths, I've just been talking in terms of major keys. But actually, if I've got a certain key signature, for example, G major with 1 sharp, this suggests that I either could be in one specific major key or one specific minor key, and those are called relative majors and relative minors. So here, 1 sharp is usually G major. However, it could also be E minor, which is here in the middle of the circle. And the way to remember the relationship between major and relative minor keys is actually you just take the major key, so G for example, and then you go back 3 steps. So 1, 2, 3, the relative minor is E minor. So just from looking at the key signature alone, so any of these key signatures, for example this one, I can't actually tell if I'm in A major or F sharp minor yet just from the key signature. So once you know what the key signature is, that's when you need to take a quick look at the music or listen to the music and work out whether it's in a major key or a minor key from the way it sounds. And then from that point you can work out if it's A major if it sounds major, or it's F sharp minor if it sounds minor. So now that we've quickly recapped the circle of fifths, I would suggest that you go and you try practicing the circle of fifths a few times up to those 4 sharps and 4 flats from memory to try and help you remember it. Then you can practice identifying key signatures using musictheory.net. I sent you a link to this in my email. And then finally, you're also going to, again, complete the Microsoft quiz that I sent you. And we're going to look at identifying key signatures. We're going to quickly go over what we've done in the past few weeks. And then we're going to do some more practice listening questions.